everybody, it's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for 10 authors that I would like to try. So I was inspired to create this video by Grace from G Swizzle. Grace has created a Goodreads group called 7 on Sunday. She basically puts up prompts for content creators to be able to come up with different ideas, and the idea is that you talk about the 7 of something book related on Sunday. I saw Abby from Abby Lissy do a video that this prompt was in, authors that you are on your radar that you haven't read from yet. And yeah, I saw Abby do this video, but by the time that I had managed to get around to filming and everything, the time had passed. But I thought, why not do a video like it, because I was intrigued. So that is what I'm doing today, but I'm going to talk about 10 authors rather than 7 that I'm interested in reading, that I have had on my radar as authors that I think I will like, that I have not read from yet. So yeah, let's do that. So the first person is Tiffany D Jackson. So I believe that Tiffany D Jackson writes horror and thrillers. The book that she most recently released, I think, is The Weight of Blood, which is a Carrie, Stephen King's Carrie retelling. Horror isn't my normal thing, but I have been trying to branch out, and I've been hearing nothing but good things about Tiffany D Jackson's writing. I can't remember the name of the other book that I know she wrote. Monday's Not Coming, maybe, which I've heard is a bit more of a thriller, but is also really, really good. And then there is White Smoke, which is a sort of thriller horror cross, which I've heard really good things about and sounds probably the one that I'm most interested in, and yeah, would like to read at some point to give Tiffany D Jackson a try. So that's the first person. Secondly, we have Travis Baldry. Travis Baldry wrote Legends and Lattes, which he self-published and then was so popular that it was picked up by Tor, I think, and re-released by Tor Publishing. I believe he has now written another cozy fantasy book which has a similar sounding name. I can't remember what it is. I do own Legends and Lattes, although it's in a different part of the house, but I do own that one and I'm very, very keen to read it. The lovely Paige from Pages with Paige sent it to me for my birthday. Thank you, Paige. And yeah, I'm super excited to get to it and to give Travis Baldry a try. I have heard nothing but incredible things about Legends and Lattes, even from people who don't really read fantasy very much. So I'm very excited for it. It sounds right up my alley, and yeah, I super want to give Travis Baldry, and in particular Legends and Lattes, a try. Then we have Fonda Lee. Fonda Lee wrote the incredibly popular Jade City series. This is a series that is set in an Asian-inspired fantasy world, and yeah, I've heard nothing but incredible things about this series. I've heard that it is high epic fantasy, lots of war and battles and everything that you would come to expect from a kind of political epic fantasy. So sounds really intriguing, and I've heard amazing things about Fonda Lee and this series, so I'm very keen to read them. Next up is S.A. Chakraborty, or Shannon Chakraborty. She wrote the David trilogy and has recently come out with a new book in the first in a series, which is a pirate fantasy, but I've heard nothing but good things about the David trilogy. I have City of Brass, which is the first one, which I really, really want to read. A lot of people say this is one of their favourite series of all time, and yeah, it just sounds fantastic. It is Middle Eastern inspired fantasy. Yeah, epic fantasy, man, that's me. Next up is Roshni Chopra, I believe is how you say the surname. So Roshni Chopra is obviously an author who has written quite a few middle grades, which I've not read. I've not read any of her books, obviously, because that's why she's on this list, but I've heard that she's a fantastic middle grade author. Recently this year she came out with The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, which is a sort of gothic fantasy type, urban fantasy type book. I own it. I was supposed to read it in April, but it didn't happen. But I'm very keen to read it and give the author a chance and see what I think. So then I have Bruce Pascoe. So this is sort of not 100% an author that I haven't read yet, but I need to give the book a proper try. So Bruce Pascoe is an Australian Aboriginal man who is an author and a historian, and he wrote an incredibly famous book that blew up all over the place here in Australia, and has a young adult version and has a picture book version, which is called Dark Emu, and it is about how basically European notions of Indigenous Australians pre-invasion were completely wrong. And yeah, I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. I've not actually read Dark Emu to a class. I just haven't had the type of situation where that would be something I would do, but I do own it, so I should take that in to where I'm currently working and read it to my class. But anyway, I started reading the original, and I just didn't finish it. I was listening to it on audiobook. I was enjoying it, but I don't really read audiobooks super often. As you guys know, I read them quite slowly, so it just didn't kind of fit in, and I picked up other things. But I have the physical version, so I would like to read it and give Bruce Pascoe, in particular Dark Emu, but him as an author, a proper go. Then we have Juno Dawson. The book that I'm most intrigued about from Juno Dawson is Her Majesty's Royal Coven, which I believe came out sometime in the middle of last year, and I have heard fantastic things about. So this is a historical fantasy set in the UK, I think maybe medieval time, not 100% sure. Juno Dawson also has written a bunch of other books, I think more kind of contemporary / maybe crime. When I've heard people talk about them as well, they've sounded really interesting, so I have been interested in Juno Dawson for a little while, but this is the one that I'm definitely really keen to read. So yeah, it's on the list. Then we have Juliet Morelia, and Juliet Morelia is an Irish, I think, author who writes very much your kind of high epic fantasy. They sound fantastic, and I'm very keen to read some of her books. I've actually borrowed Daughter of the Forest from my friend. I've had it for a while now, and I really need to get to reading it because I have not read it and I've had it for a while. Anyway, yeah, I've just really enjoyed the sound of all of the books when people have talked about her. She sounds like the kind of thing that I would really enjoy, so I'm definitely keen to read some Juliet Morelia at some point. Then I have T Kingfisher. So T Kingfisher, I think, has been writing under a different pseudonym as a middle grade fantasy author, but have, under the name T Kingfisher, have started releasing sort of horror, dark fairy tale type books, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about their works. Lots of different types of books, some very much horror, some fairy tales, that sort of thing, but yeah, sounds like she has some really great stuff and is really interesting and really interesting author. Well written, all those things. I have Nettle and Bone, which is the kind of more fantasy dark fairy tale books that she's written under that pen name, and I'm very keen to read it at some point, hopefully soon. So yeah. And then finally is Quickie. I don't know that they write any one particular genre. I know that they've written a kind of literary fiction romance recently. They've written some kind of more maybe fantasy, dark fantasy, middle grade, and they've written more kind of literary fiction contemporary. I don't know much about the books that they have written, despite the fact that people talk about Quickie quite often. People are very good at not giving a lot away, but they do make them sound really intriguing and really interesting. So Quickie as an author has been on my radar for a while now, and I just haven't managed to get any of their books, but I definitely would like to at some point. So they are the last author on this list. So yeah, those are my 10 authors that are on my radar that I haven't read from yet, but I would really like to. It's not to say that I only have 10 authors like that, but these are the ones that I'm most interested in, have been either for quite a while, or I'm super excited for a book or two of theirs. But yeah, so that's that. And that is therefore the end of the video. Please comment below if you have read any of these authors, if you think I would enjoy their books, what book should I start with for any of the authors. Please let me know any authors that you really want to try that you haven't read from yet. Comment anything else really that you'd like to in the description below. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me an excited face emoji because I'm excited to read from all of these authors. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.